Welcome to The King and Me Show. I'm one half of this thing, King.
Hey, y'all. It's me, Michelle. How y'all doing?
The King and Me Show is a live stream where we come to y'all every Monday. Liggity live.
Hey.
At 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern. And we offer a real outlook on a healthy relationship. Real being relatable.
Entertaining.
Accountable.
And loving.
Ha, better than podcast. Take that. Better than perfect. We get our intros right.
Why are you messing with them?
Nah, shout out to John and Nicole over there at Better Than Perfect Podcast. We are streaming across multiple platforms: Facebook, Twitch, X, and YouTube. So if there's a like button on your platform, do us a favor, hit that like button. Michelle and I are a couple that's beyond new-ish. We're approaching 2 years here dating and knowing each other. And we're trying to combat the narrative that people that are getting into a relationship, past the age of 30, right?
Mm-hmm.
That there is more than toxic people out there in this toxic wasteland. So our live stream, we hope to give insights and things as to what we're doing and invite y'all to share, leave comments, and contribute to the conversation as well.
You're going to hate me. Camera is a smidge too high. I always do this. I know.
Come on.
I'm so sorry. So what I'm going to do while you it's a new month.
It is a new month.
So I'll adjust this while you bring that. So it's a new month. For Christmas, I got King this calendar book. It's time for me to flip and reveal what was there. That should be good.
Okay.
It's blurry, so I need to clean it.
The lens?
Yeah.
Hey, look, we adjusting and doing things on the fly here.
All right, you ready to see what July was?
Yes. Hey!
So it's a picture from his daughter's sweet 16 birthday last year of the three of us. That's what July is. And if you're doing the math and you know that I put a picture from every month, then you know his daughter will be 17 this year. So, hey.
17, getting on up there. Who we got in the building here while we get started? Shout out to Tarika. Said, I'm here for the king and queen. Hey, hold on. If you're here for the king, I got to put my crown on real quick. And I cock it to the side, T.I. style. What you know about that? What you know about that? I know all about that. All right, I'm going to put it down.
Dang, you had it on for all of 30 seconds and it left a mark.
I know, that thing heavy too.
Okay, heavy as the head that wears the crown.
All right. Let's get into our questions.
So we play this game called Let's Get Deep. It has some over 500 questions that you can ask someone as you're getting to know them. It's a great game. We aren't sponsored by them yet, but we do have a link to purchase on our link tree. So go ahead and check it out. And it comes with 3 rounds. First round is icebreaker. And this question says, what's your favorite thing to do with your friends?
Video game.
Nice.
So I'm a consistent person, y'all. If you follow my live streams as you get to know me through this thing called Let's Get Deep, my answers are pretty consistent. They're the same. And that one's easy. I like to game with my homies, whether it's electronic video games like over the Xbox or PC or board games. I do this thing called FTX every other Friday night where me and a couple of my nerd buddies get together and we try out different board games. Sometimes it's card games, but I like that camaraderie that you can have. I like the competition and the brotherhood and bond that you build through gaming. How about you?
All right, so I'm going to be real honest and keep it a buck, as the kids say. My favorite thing to do with my friends is nap. Because apparently every time we get together and we're at a friend's house, I fall asleep. They'll be wide awake and they'll be doing stuff, but I'll be knocked out on the floor somewhere. Her floor is really comfortable. And then when you add in a blanket,
it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. It's pretty much done. So apparently my favorite thing to do with my friends is nap. I'm going to go clean the lens a little bit. Let's switch it up and you ask.
Okay. So Michelle, if you could time travel What time would you go to and why?
Oh, if I could time travel, what did that get better?
It
If
was
I could
better
time
than
travel, what time would I go to and why? It's a toss up for me between medieval times because I don't know, it's just something intriguing about being there and the language that they use versus my desire to be in like the Bridgerton times. Like, so Bridgerton is that show on Netflix. So low key wouldn't mind being in that era. Although I'm legitimately, every time I watch a season of Bridgerton, I'm like, but what y'all do all day? Like, you ain't had no TV. Like, y'all just read books and did pianoforte all day long. Like, and with nosy, like,
and have sex and have like 30 kids.
oh, yeah. See, I could handle. No, minus the 30 kids part. But like, other than that, I could have gone. I definitely could have gone. Okay, what about you?
You know, it's funny because going back in time means that I might have had less rights than what I do now.
Oh, of course. That's why I said places that weren't here. If you
True.
notice,
I would probably say like, ooh, I think it was the Roaring '70s.
ooh,
Like, but
ooh.
specifically like around like Louisiana in the '70s, where more people of color congregated at, where they had like speakeasies and they didn't worry about outside people or folks that were racist doing things to them. Mm-hmm. So around the '70s, in like the
Harlem
speakeasy time,
Renaissance type thing.
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
that's fair.
yeah. It seems like they know how to have a good time, and I'm not somebody that likes to dance or anything, but I like that energy that they gave.
All
so
right.
that would probably be my time.
That kind of matches what Tarika said. Hey, shout out to the greatest mod. She said that she would travel back to like the civil rights movement area. There's a reason why I didn't say that, because low-key would I love to meet Dr. King and like all the movers and the shakers in their high day as they're working. Yes. But if I moved back to that time with the personality I have now, I wouldn't be alive but for so long. Mm-hmm. So I skipped it. I skipped it for a reason.
No doubt.
All right, so the deeper question. So this is the third level. It's icebreaker, deep, and then deeper. It says, what are your friends' perceptions about having kids?
Well, most of my friends are 40s, mid 30s, early 40s, and they're done having kids. So they have their family. Mm-hmm. There's only one person who I know, and I shake my head, but he just had his kid this past Monday, and he is 50, I think. Oh, sweet Jesus. That's what, yeah. An older son, or his son's a little bit younger than Castle, mm-hmm. And just had a newborn, and he's like 25 years into the service. So shout out to the Colonel. I won't say his name because he's a pretty private guy, but I'll give him a salute in case he does watch our channel. And yeah, to answer the question though, because that was long-winded, they are people. Most of my peers are people who have kids and they have their families, and their kids are at the age to where they're having kids.
For me, some of the people I went to high school with, like I use the term, I'm not going to use the term friends, but some of the people that I went to high school with, they've already had their kids. I know one who's about to be a grandmother. My own cousin, who is literally only 7 months older than me, is already a grandmother. Like she's already a year and a half into grandmahood. So they're not, some of the women I know, they're not really thinking about kids. Some of them aren't mothers yet. Like my two closest friends are not mothers yet. And I know that like that's something they think about. For me, I'm just like, baby, all you gotta do is go be a high school teacher and you won't want to be a mother no more. You'll be fine. Because that's where I am. I sit in that I'm a high school teacher. Nope, I'm good. We good. We fine.
So I like to add on to this real quick. My daughter's 16. She's about to be 17. She's obviously at the age where she could be a parent now. It is my hope that she holds off until she's established and she's able to get into a good situation that if she wanted a family, that her and the person that she chooses to start a family with, they're not struggle having a family. They've planned it out. They've actually done family planning. it's not a oopsie baby or anything like that, and that they have a solid foundation before they have kids themselves. I wouldn't mind being a granddad. It's one of the things that I knew I wanted, at least to be a father, and it was my hope to be a grandfather before my time here on this earth is done. But it's also my hope that it's not early for her, that she waits until she's planned this thing out and her significant other, whoever that person may be, are able to provide, not just come in and not do the granddad thing.
Well, so here's the thing about that, and we can use that to kind of segue into our discussion for tonight. Women are only having kids at two ages, right? Either the young and kind of irresponsible, not ready for that level of responsibility, or significantly older. Because if they are doing what you just said, which is waiting until they're established, that establishment for some women doesn't come until their late 30s, early 40s, because that's when they're finally ready. Like, I've climbed the ladder. I'm no longer climbing the ladder. I've climbed the ladder, and I'm at a place where I can now effectively step back and have kids. And so that's the thing. It's like, either you have a kid when you're young and then tough it out and get to that point, or you climb the rungs of success and you wait until you're all the way at a plateau moment to be able to have kids. There's like really no in between with that.
I agree.
Unfortunately.
And
not
it's
for
unfortunate.
women, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree with everything you said 100%. And it is unfortunate. But y'all let us know what y'all think.
Yeah. We would love to hear from you. Love to hear from you.
All right. Now, set us up while I double check some things.
Sure.
Go.
So the first thing that I'm going to do to set us up is I want to apologize to you all. I did not realize until yesterday when my pastor said something to me that I have a really soft voice. So everyone has been saying it to me for a while. Like, there's this one lady at church. She has always said to me, like, lately, so as of 2024, whenever I preach or whenever I'm a worship leader, she'll say to me, you know, that was really good. I could hear you. And at first I thought she was joking, but it turns out that sometimes I will say stuff and it's not that I'm intentionally speaking low, but somehow the frequency of my voice just does not get picked up by microphones all the time. So I want to take a moment to apologize to you all. If you notice today, I am intentionally speaking louder so that the mic, which is over here, can pick me up. But today, y'all, today, we are talking about, do I have to go through a bad relationship in order to appreciate or understand a good relationship? And we would love to hear from you, hear your opinions. We're going to share a little bit about our individual and respective past as we get into this. But that's the question. Do you believe that you have to go through a bad relationship in order to appreciate a good one?
Now, I'm trying to figure out if you can be in a bad relationship while sailing on a boat, because that's what we did last week, a couple of days ago. This is a picture of us on a sailboat, where I also got the opportunity to captain that thing too. Captain Smith pulled up in the building. That was a horrible transition, but
it was funny.
Yeah, but I wanted to go ahead and get that in there. So as we were talking about this, do you have to go through a bad relationship in order to know when you have a good one? This was inspired for me as I was going through Reddit, and I read multiple Reddit posts of women in their 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to repeat that. Women in their 30s
Mm-hmm.
that stated that they were married to their high school sweetheart and he's 80% of everything that I need. There's a couple of things here and there. We have a beautiful family, but I can't help but feeling like if there's more out there. And I'm like, more of what? You won. Like, you've reached the thing that some people are striving to get to help be a part of their life and things like that, like help be a puzzle piece in their life. and you're complaining? What are you complaining about?
Look, I attended a funeral several months ago during spring break for a woman who was a deaconess at our church. She and her husband had been together for well over 50 years, 60 years, well over 60 years. And I think they had been married for like 62 years. And they were high school sweethearts. And I just look at that and I'm like, for some people, it's an absolutely beautiful thing. But then I also say, if you're in that situation and you feel like your spouse is only 80% of what you need, the reality is they're probably 100%, but you're letting outside influences change how you view that.
Mm-hmm.
I am a firm believer that yes, you have to go through a level of hell in order to appreciate heaven. Like that is how I look at it. You
Okay.
do have to go through some bad things in order to appreciate the good things that you have. Because if you've ever been in a situation where in a relationship where you feel like you can't trust a person, then when you look back and you have someone who is in like a high school relationship, a high school romance that has spanned the entirety of their life, then you can see how beautiful that truly is. You really do have to go through a level of hell in order to appreciate heaven.
Yes. And I'm sitting here as I'm reading stuff like this. I'm like, is he smacking you? Because there are men out here who are smacking their women.
Mm-hmm.
Is he, abusing you in any kind of way? Because there are men that are out here abusing women in many kinds of manners. If you're talking about how you're able to go on vacation, how he treats you and the kids good, but yet you still wonder because y'all got together when you were young, I'd almost want to challenge you and say, go out there and see what's out there for you.
Don't do that.
I'm telling you, I want these women that think that way. Go out there and see what's out there. See what
It's
kind of
nothing to see.
see what kind of men are ready to go reporting for duty, and then that's all they want from you. Whereas you have this man who is invested in you. He has given you nothing but time, attention, energy, and love. Right? He's done the things.
And for some people, like I feel like that's not enough. And the only reason I believe that people are looking at that and they're like, "Oh, that's not enough," is because they see other things happening around them. They see other relationships. Let's be honest. The odds of being in a 15, 20 year plus relationship and the man is still, you know what, I can't even say some things because I do know that there's some men who still open the car door for their wives every single day. And I do know that there are men who will buy fresh flowers for their wives every single week. And they've been doing it for like 20 some odd years. I do know that there are relationships like that, but that doesn't mean that every man is like that. And I think that some people will be in a long-term relationship and they'll start comparing because social media is there, right? We're seeing all of the good things that people post, not the negative, but someone will see something and be like, well, why doesn't my partner do that? Or my partner used to do that, but they don't do it anymore. And instead of looking introspectively to find out why their partner has changed and why they're no longer doing the things that they used to do, they're automatically like, I think I want someone new. Like, I think I'm going to try something new. No, no, no. It takes two people to tango. So if there's something that's happening in your relationship, I'm sorry, if something was happening in your relationship that is no longer happening in your relationship, you really do need to ask yourself how you contributed to that change or try to address the change.
What level of outside counsel then should somebody have if they're trying to figure out, and I'm going to take this back a bit, people that they're not sure that what they're in is bad. So now they want to seek kind of outside counsel because they're having these thoughts. Do you think that people that do that are being given solid advice, or are they being led astray because they might only be presenting one side of the coin?
Well, so here's a fail-safe way for me. Number one, if your partner is putting their hands on you, that is a bad relationship. Point blank, period. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Other things may be a little bit nuanced and it may just be hard to understand. If you have a partner who is preventing you from hanging out with other people, that could definitely be something to look into. Like, there are some things that are red flags in general. But other than that, I feel like there's some things where it's not a problem until you take it to someone outside of your relationship to address it or compare it. So let's say, for example, I love cooking for you, right? And let's say I have been cooking for you every single night for 2 years and I have no problem with it. You have no problem with it. But one day I'm sitting down with my girlfriends and I'm talking to them and I say, I have to go. I have to go cook dinner for King. And I say it just like that. I have to go cook dinner for King. And they're like, you cook dinner for King? And I'm like, yeah, I cook him dinner every single night. I love doing it. And they're like, does he not cook for you any other night? And I'm like, well, no, because I enjoy cooking for him. Y'all don't go out to dinner or anything? No, because I enjoy cooking for him. Michelle, that doesn't sound healthy that you're the one cooking for him every single night. So, like, right there, I'm talking to my good girlfriends, and because they're telling me that something doesn't sound right, now I'm thinking, but wait a minute, he really doesn't ever cook for me. And he really does sit at the table every night at the same time, waiting for me to prepare him food. So I wonder what would happen if tonight I don't prepare him any food. And it just like goes all the way downhill. So sometimes there's not a problem until you say something to that outside person. And I think that's where some relationships go astray. Women start having conversations with people outside of their relationship, and people who are not in their relationship, not God and not a counselor, begin saying things, and the woman takes it to heart. And then she's like, okay, I got to do something about this. I'm not happy. Why are you not happy? You were happy 5 minutes ago before this conversation got started, but now you're not happy because someone else told you that this shouldn't be the way it is, because that's not what they do. No.
Those 3 words, I'm not happy. Oh my goodness. In my opinion, internet, the moment that you hear the words, I'm not happy, relationship's doomed. I didn't say done, it's doomed. If you don't figure out and course correct and do it quick, it's then can be considered done. But even that's a whole catch-22 in itself as well. Because now, if I'm hearing that I'm not happy, what's wrong? Let's say I start addressing the things that you're saying that you're not happy about. Now I'm taking time and attention and resources off of other stuff that could then be lacking. And it kind of starts this whole slippery slope of the relationship's likely about to run its course. Those words, I'm not happy, spells doomsday for me. If you ever say those words to me, Michelle, I'm letting you know. In my head, I'm going, that starts the clock. It's done. Could there be another way that you can say I'm not happy?
Well, I think there's a difference between saying I'm not happy in a relationship and I'm not happy about a situation.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, and this is purely hypothetical, and I'm going to use the penny on the floor. So there's a penny on the floor over there.
Yeah.
Let's say I asked you to pick up the penny because for whatever reason I can't bend down.
Okay.
And you're like, okay, Michelle, I'll pick up the penny. And then a week goes by and I notice the penny is still right there. And I ask you again and you're like, oh, okay, I'll get to it in a second. I apologize. I'm going to get to it in a second. And then another week goes by and the penny is still sitting right there. I may turn to you and say, I asked you to do this and you didn't do it. I asked you twice because I'm unable to bend down. I'm not happy about having to ask you for something over and over again. That's flat out that's different from me flat out saying, King, you didn't pick up this penny and now I'm not happy in this relationship. Like, those are two different things to me. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But
No. Yes, I think the but comes from maybe how it's said,
okay.
how it's presented, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you come at me, I'm telling you how I am. If you come at me and I'm in the middle of, I don't know, something, just the way that my focus and attention span is, and you say, hey, can we have a talk? Or, which is another one of those words, oh my goodness.
Can we have a talk?
Can we have a talk? I'm bringing out all the bad words for bad relationships today. Hey, man, I hope y'all paying attention. Can we have a talk and I'm not happy? Two things that are doomsday devices for a relationship. Yeah, you'd have to ensure that I've got the capacity to hear you out, first of all. Otherwise, I might interpret, even if your message is clear, I might interpret, wait, she just said she wasn't happy. And that's all that I heard.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's communication is one of the biggest things that holds relationships back. It's one of the biggest things that you and I talk about. It's one of the pillars that we say are or it's one of the foundations of what we say can help make that healthy relationship, but it's not easy.
It's not easy. And I think that some people don't try. And honestly, I think that's how a relationship can go from sweet to sour, that people don't want to communicate and work things out. I think of some of the relationships that I've had in the past, and not just like recent ones, but just like even in my 20s, relationships that I was in where there were assumptions that were made, but not a lot of conversation. And then if there was conversation, it was an effective conversation. Like, you are a person who does not sit on the phone if you don't have anything to say,
Nope.
right? And I think in my past, I may have been in relationships where either he or I would be totally fine with sitting on the phone and not saying anything, or sitting on the phone and not saying anything effective, something that was going to like help and be a bedrock in our relationship. So I think that people need to truly understand the impact that communication has on a relationship, and how that can take something from sweet, oh, I love it, to sour, oh, I want out, I'm not happy anymore.
Okay. Do you have any examples of a relationship that you were in that was a bad relationship that you now can look back and it's funny to think about?
Let's see. Scrolling through my mental Rolodex. Yes. So there was this guy that we weren't by definition in a relationship, right? I'm going to be very transparent and say that right before he was going off to college, I took something of his that is very important to people. I took a card of his that's very important to people, right? And typically, when a guy takes that card from a woman, the woman is normally sprung. Well, for whatever reason, this was reversed because I took his card and I was sprung. Like, I was sprung, right?
Okay.
So when I moved from Baltimore out here in 2011, he and I had sparked a situationship.
Okay.
And this situationship included me going back home to Baltimore every weekend, right? And every weekend I would go home, and 90% of the time, would stay at his house. And at the time, he was still living with his mom, whom I absolutely loved, still love to this day. He was staying with her. So like at this point, like, she's expecting me. She knows I'm coming every single weekend. Like, that's how deep this situationship was. Well, he had gone through a bout of unemployment, and he ended up, because he had a college degree and everything in a very specific subject, he ended up getting a job at a rental car company at the airport. And he had an older car, but it was still like an older bougie car. Like, I want to say it was like a BMW, or it was an older black Mercedes Benz, right? And he had the car, and this young lady that he met there paid for his windows to be tinted because she was working there, but her family was affluent and his family was too. But, he's a guy, they were trying to teach him responsibility, all that stuff. Well, it turns out that while he and I were having a situationship that was never defined as exclusive, he was over there having a situationship with her as well. And I distinctly remember that I bought a pack of prophylactics. Like, I'm using all the bougie words today. I bought a pack of prophylactics and I bought them and they were unopened. Well, one weekend I came to his house and said pack of prophylactics were open and there were several missing.
Let me guess. He wanted to practice?
So I questioned him about it. And that's when I find out that he and the coworker have been, in a situationship for some time. I also find out that said situationship led to her being pregnant. And because of her religious beliefs, she was not going to abort the child. And that went down the stream of them being in a relationship together. So your question was, have I ever been in a relationship where like I knew at the time that it wasn't good? I knew that wasn't good. Like, the first thing I will say is I was giving of myself to a man who did not commit to me. And that was definitely like a red flag. He was not committing to me. There was no public display. And I'm not even talking about social media. Like, there was no outward display. Essentially, his boys knew and his mom knew, obviously, but there wasn't a let's go out on a date, shall, or anything like that. It was literally like all behind closed doors. And I was too young and dumb and naive at the time to realize that if someone is hiding me, I'm not someone who should ever be hidden. And if someone is hiding me, that's a problem. That's not a situation you should be in.
Okay.
I will say karma came around full circle. And I do feel kind of bad for saying that statement, but it is kind of true because it turns out they ended up getting married, but they divorced because it turns out she had been cheating on him the whole entire time they were together.
I've always wondered, people that cheat, do they not think that the person that they cheated with won't cheat on them?
I look at that too, and I say this with love, but I know someone close to me, biologically close to me, who they took their current husband from another woman. Like, he was married and she took him, he left, whatever, to be with her. They ended up having, like, I think 4 kids together. And I always sit here and I'm like, do you not worry that one day he may leave you too for someone else? Like, that's always something that has come into my mind ever since I knew that they were together. That was always something that I wondered about.
Okay.
Hasn't happened yet. I don't think it's going to happen at this point, but that was always something that I wondered about.
No doubt. Now, as you were talking, I was trying to think of an example that I could give, and one that I'm going to start with. It was hard to call this a relationship because it didn't really last that long. But stupid me wanted it to last because this individual was like, I feel some way saying this, but like my type, right? So I could hear how she would talk about her ex-husband. So she was married too. She was married as well. She was married. She had a kid that was a little bit older than Castle. So as I was evaluating this, I'm like, okay, somebody that has been in a relationship, know what it takes to be in a relationship. And this is when I was like, I'm going to be somebody's husband, damn it. Which was just the wrong way of thinking. But during the short time that her and I were still getting to know each other and things like that, she would still talk about her ex-husband like often. And everything came back to something that he did, whether it was good or bad. And I said there one time when I peeped it out, I said, I don't think you over, old buddy. And she said, no, I am. I said, I'm going to tell you exactly what you just said in our conversation here in the last 30 minutes. And I repeated every single point and the specific references to him. And I said, I'm trying to get to know you. Yet I think I know more about him than I know more about you. And a week later, she admitted it to me. Mm-hmm. She said, I think you're right. And I'm not over him. And that's not fair to you. I said, I was out. Like that conversation that night, I was done because it clicked to me right then and there that she was still not over her ex-husband.
Well, so here's the thing. Like, I'm not going to put all of our business out there on the street, but yesterday you called me and you prefaced your conversation by saying that you didn't want to make comparisons. And I kind of chuckled internally with myself because the reality is, as much as we don't, like consciously, we may not want to compare the person that we're with someone from our past. We do. Mm-hmm, there are comparisons that happen all the time. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, whether you're like, oh, well, my current partner does this and my previous partner never did that. Or my previous partner was such a prude about this, but my current partner, oh no, like they love doing this stuff. Whatever it may be, we do make like slight comparisons in relationships. The thing is, you can't live in that previous relationship as you were in your present relationship. You can't be like, example, I can't say, well, King, my ex did this and I'm so terrified that you're going to do it too. So I need you to never drink. Prime example, my ex would be a belligerent drunk, like didn't do well with too much alcohol and got like really, really loud. And I can't stand that. Like it is so extremely unattractive to me. I can't compare him to you and say, King, because my ex did that, I need you to never drink around me. That's not fair to you.
Yeah.
Nor is it fair for me to say, well, King, my ex, he would prepare gourmet meals at least once a week for me. So are you able to, like, I would like it if you did the same thing too. That's not fair to you. And I think sometimes that happens in relationships, and that's where we run into people thinking that they're in a bad relationship because there are comparisons going on from a previous relationship, and that person is trying to hold their current person to the level that they held the previous person. And that's not fair to anyone, including yourself.
No, it's not. And we're curious if there's anybody out there in the live or that's going to catch this on the replay. If y'all have a story about a bad relationship, put it down in the comment section. We read all the comments and things like that, especially on the video that's on Instagram is approaching
over 80,000 views. Oh
80,000 views.
Gosh.
And it is still getting comments. And what we're talking about is I talked about how in my marriage, how I held my tongue because I knew how the conversation was going to go. And not that I knew exactly what she was going to say. I just knew the process of how it was going to end. I knew what the outcome was going to be. So I just was like, you know what? It ain't worth it. And many of men are to this day stepping in saying, bro, I feel that. That's what I'm going through right now. My current marriage is just like this. My prior marriage was like that, and I ain't going through that again. And it's wild.
It is.
It's wild to me. But I appreciate the guy stepping up. And also, it's more about like learning from it, right? Like for me, I recognize that I should not have done that in my prior marriage. I should have been able to communicate, do it effectively. And if the ship was about to be steered off course to the right, be like, no, we're not talking about that now. Refocus and bring this here and say, hey, if this is something that you want to talk about, let's close this here first. And then if we have time, we'll move to that. And if this is something that's important to you, I will make the time for you later. But right now, we're talking about this. I had to go through that to learn it though,
Mm-hmm.
right? And for some people, they're able to go through it, learn it, get it, apply it, adapt it, and make it work for them. I didn't. There are people that I think they're solid between both parties, that if it's their one and only relationship, they do the things together to make it work because they both want it to work.
Right.
And they're in love with that person and they respect that person. Because I don't care about love. I do not care about love. I care about respect. The moment that this gorgeous woman loses respect for me, we're done. We're done. Now, it's my opinion that she's not just going to wake up and go, I don't respect this man no more. Chances are I am going to do something that is going to cause her to see me in a different light, right? So it's my actions, the things that I have going on, right? I know what her non-negotiables are. And if I overstep those non-negotiables and she is aware of it, she has every right to lose the respect for me for the things that I did that I knew were her non-negotiables. Like, do y'all see how that works? I think oftentimes people think that they can just do something and get away with it or whatnot. And I don't care about female tuition. Let me tell y'all this right now, too. Okay. Ooh, I done set up. Female tuition is bull crap. What? I was proud of myself for not cussing.
Wait, why?
No, female tuition is bullcrap, because if female intuition was an actual thing, 70% of these ladies out here that are picking bad men would not be picking these bad men.
But I don't think it's their lack of working female intuition, women's intuition, that allows them to do that. I think it's a loneliness thing that causes them to do that. No, I don't think I don't think it has anything to do with their intuition.
But that intuition, if it was an actual thing, it would override that loneliness.
No, but for me, I look at it and it's like, which one is talking louder? So women have an internal clock that's always ticking as far as their childbirth is concerned, right?
I don't disagree with that.
How long they have before they can, safely deliver a child, right? That's always going. And sometimes because that's ticking so loudly, that ticking sound causes us to ignore the alarms that are going off within us about women's intuition, saying, no, sis, he ain't right for you. And I can't hear that because over here, I hear the ticking sound of my womb going off saying, we almost out of time. We almost out of time. And that's significantly louder than, he's not right for you, sis. He's not right for you. So I think it works. I think sometimes we just have other things that speak louder.
Huh. Yeah.
I done created a visual for you and everything.
No, I like your example. That was dope. That was good.
But honestly, I think that's what happens, right? I think we really do have women's intuition and that something kicks in and we know. I just think other things drown out the sound of that ringing alarm. Like, okay, he has X, Y, and Z. He has been locked up for a really long time. He has no job, like no prospects, nothing. But when I come home, there's always a meal on the table. And he makes sure he gives me massages and rubs me down every single day and makes sure that I'm that I'm okay. And he asks me genuinely about my day every single day. And he caters to me when I come through the house. That is going to be louder than the intuition that says, but this man ain't got no job and no prospects. And he is not desiring to leave the house and do anything for you. So I think it goes off. It's just something else that's drowning out that sound.
Okay. What things do you have that you want to ask me? Because I know you got some stuff up in that brain of yours.
I do. I don't know if it totally fits into this, but this is something that I thought about yesterday.
All right.
So yesterday when you called me and you said that you wanted to talk to me about that thing and you started with you weren't trying to make comparisons, I kind of chuckled to myself because
you chuckled out loud too.
Okay. My bad. You weren't supposed to hear that, right?
It's all good.
I kind of chuckled to myself because a part of me was like, it is so funny that when we first met, your biggest concern for us was that we were going to differ greatly on the religion aspect. Like that was so big for you, like so big. But it's funny because that's not where we run into our communication issues. And not even issues. That's not where we run into our glitches with communication. We run into glitches when it pertains to you and I doing stuff differently. Like our differences that we have had conversations about, none of them have been about religion. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
Not one of them have been about religion. You and I, it turns out we really are yin and yang to one another. Because I look at a world from a let me create, let me develop, let me curate type of thing. And you look at the world from a let me implement, let me do type of thing. And that works so well together. But that just shows that there's like a difference in our mind and how we see things. So I think that that is kind of funny because both of us are coming into this relationship holding on to things from our past relationship and kind of like ready to pounce, whatever. Jump on the other person because we're kind of triggered by things that have happened in our past. Like my ex before you, he didn't listen to me. Well, he didn't listen to understand. And it was very, very obvious because he would go quiet. Like if we were on the phone, he would go quiet on the other end and I would know that he wasn't paying me attention. Like the words may have been going in and out of his ear, but like he wasn't listening to understand and to be able to respond. And you were in a situation where you felt like you couldn't talk and like you couldn't be your authentic self. So what that looks like for you is that you come here and sometimes you overcompensate for it.
Yep. I surely do.
You overcompensate for that. And for me, I overcompensate and I'm just like, well, King, I want to tell you something to your face because that way I know you're listening to me because I know that you're not a rude person. So I know you're not going to have someone in front of your face and you ignore them. And that's something that like I picked up from my previous relationship. So I don't think I necessarily have a question for you because the bulk of your relationships that you've had over the past 20 years and I've been out of high school for 20 years. So I'll say 20 years for me, 22 for you. The bulk of that was a 14-year marriage. So it's the same person, like different situations. And then, it's not really a lot. And then for me, I had like my 20s was period of my life. And my 30s, the two guys that I dated, one guy I will always say that he was a really, really good man. And probably at a different point in my life, I probably would have treated him better, but I wasn't healed when I was with him. And I always apologize to him for that. And he knows how I feel about that. Like you've spoken to him. And then the other one was the one that I was getting out of right before you. And I look back, and this sounds so mean, but I look back and I don't know why I was in that relationship. I don't know why I got in that relationship.
Give a reason. You're old enough, and we've talked about relationship stuff that you can be able to formulate a reason. You should be able to by now.
I can. It's going to sound cruel. It was a COVID relationship.
Then say that. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's honest. It is honest, and it's true. It was a COVID relationship. Like COVID came like literally right as we were getting together. And it was definitely one of those, I'm about to hunker down with him because I won't be able, like, I can't go out on dates and stuff like that. I can't date anyone. And even with him, it was definitely one of those like scary things. Like the population that he worked with, it was like, but it was me trying to have someone to hunker down with. If COVID hadn't happened, I don't know if I would have gotten in that relationship. Or Better yet, if I had gotten into it, I don't know if I would have stayed in it that long. That probably would have been like a 3-month thing max.
It's so interesting to me how different COVID affected you and I, because for me, COVID was the time that I started monk mode.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also one of the perfect times to do it.
Yeah,
Because if you didn't hunker down with anybody, like they made COVID sound bad, right? And I wasn't like all the way scared of it, but I did want to respect what the people were saying. And I had just came out of a 6-month situationship, Valentine's, so February, like literally 2 weeks prior.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, the whole world shut down. So I used that time in monk mode, and like I wasn't lonely. It was dope. I also needed to do it because that 6 months I attribute to as one of the worst times in my life, period. With the lady that I was renting from and everything that I had to deal with to get up out of that situation, and work and grind to get to where I'm at now. But had COVID not happened, I think I would have gotten to that point to where enough was enough, but it might have taken me longer. Like I might have still been trying to seek that validation, because that's what I was doing. I was trying to seek validation from women because my marriage had failed, and I wanted to know that
it wasn't you.
It wasn't me.
Yeah.
I also wanted to know that like I was wanted by somebody. I can say that clearly now, but in that moment, I didn't understand that.
Oh, okay. So then I'm going to be honest too, because I loved your transparency. I'm going to be real honest. So prior to COVID, so like the beginning part of 2019, I wasn't dating, right? In 2019, I was working at a middle school, and there was this guy there, younger than me by 11 years, and he found me attractive. Why'd he go and do that? Because I thought that he was an attractive young man, and I liked the attention that I was getting from him. I had left the school system, and then I started working at a bank, and I liked the attention that I was getting from the men at the bank, but it never would have worked out because I worked at the bank and I could see how much money they had in their bank accounts. So it never would have worked. Not because I'm a gold digger and like I need their money, but because I felt like that was too intimate and I didn't want to cross professional lines. Like I didn't want them to say, well, Michelle, you see how much money I have in my account. Can you slide me? Like I never wanted to get to that period. So I didn't date the guys from the bank, but the attention that I was getting from the one guy that I had worked with awakened me in a way that I wasn't expecting. So when my ex came on the scene and he helped tap into that wokeness,
Yes.
right? When he tapped into that, I craved that attention.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID happened. And I was like, well, I want to keep getting this attention. So I stayed.
That makes sense.
But I'm going to be honest, if COVID hadn't happened, I would not have stayed with him and I would have just walked away.
That makes sense.
I would have walked away so much sooner because aside from taking away physical loneliness, and I'm being very, very intentional about my words of saying physical loneliness, aside from taking away physical loneliness, he didn't grow me in any way, shape, or form. And I want to repeat that because I'm not sure about Mike. Aside from taking away physical loneliness, my ex prior to you did not grow me in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to be specific about physical loneliness because emotionally, I still felt lonely sometimes.
Even with being cooped up together under the same roof because of COVID?
He didn't listen to me. Like, he didn't listen to me. He had a prawn addiction. And he took pictures of other women as they would walk by, and like other pictures of women's behinds as they were walking by, and then would use that to self-satisfy while indulging on Mary Jane. I'm thinking of all colorful words here. While indulging in Mary Jane, and I would be left alone. So no, I was not emotionally. I was still emotionally lonely.
You know, COVID helped or hurt relationships.
Oh, all of them.
The numbers spiked in divorces for people that were married once the courthouses and stuff opened. And I remember reading this article on like MSNBC that talked about how the family courts were backed up because of the amount of cases that once people were able to physically file or if they had a system where they could file online, it was like, and immediately courts are open. Bring!
Because people were cooped up together for so long that they realized that they just weren't compatible. Like whatever issues they had before were exasperated by being together for so long.
So Ernest is back. I still don't know if Ernest is a real person.
I don't either.
But Ernest is back.
Seems pretty much exactly what was written last week.
Hey, Ernest, if you're a real person.
But he did say as early as I earlier said to you a couple of days ago, he's in need of a serious relationship.
Hey, so it's currently in West Africa now. So the people that watch from Perry Productions, he's international. He's all over. Congratulations, Perry Productions, on 200,000 followers as well.
200,000. Hey.
Ernest, so it's tough, man, because I don't know how the dating culture is where you're at, right? So I can speak to how people are here in the US, but it's also my understanding that West African dating culture is a lot more traditional. So if you're going to look for somebody traditional,
you need to stay away from America.
I wouldn't come here for that.
I would not at all.
I would not come here for that. So now we're talking, well, how do you look for that, or how do you find that more traditional person where you're at? I love to visit West Africa just to see how people interact and things out there. So what advice would I have? You said I need a serious relationship for marriage from this part of the world. Don't come here for that.
So like I remember saying to my mom, because my mom is Jamaican, I remember saying to her, aren't you, and because this is how I talk to my mom, aren't you non-Americans, like, aren't y'all supposed to set your children up and like get them ready for marriage? And she always joked and said that she wouldn't do it. But I do wonder for you, Ernest, like, if your parents are still alive, is that something that they can do? Can they help facilitate? Because they would understand the culture of where you are and what's needed. So is that a possibility? Is that a realm of something that could happen? An arranged marriage? I think arranged marriages have success because you're coming into it and the only thing you have is respect and trust, and the love will come eventually. I think love will always come eventually. Love will always find a way. But when you are able to build a relationship on something else, then I think if love is the, let me make this metaphor to a house. If love is the foundation, then it can crumble. But if something else more sturdy, like trust or respect or friendship, is the foundation, then the house can stand no matter what.
Let me ask you this too, Ernest. Are you specifically wanting to say somebody from the US? And if so, why? Because I would say easily to anybody that's got the money and the resources, take your passport, I go to the Philippines. I'm serious. I've been to the Philippines. The Philippines are very traditional in how they look at relationships and things like that. You might find single parents, but if you do, it was from young decisions that they made.
Or widows.
Yes. So if you have the money and the resources and you're looking for somebody that is serious, straight up, look at the Philippines, man. Every person who I know from the Philippines, and shout out to all of them, because when I say 100% of the Filipino women that I know personally are fantastic women. And I've met some great, and they will treat you like family. And if they're romantically interested in you, and y'all get together, that's your woman and you her man. Plain and simple. They will go to the ends of the earth because I don't know, something about how they're raised culturally, they place importance on those type of relationships. They don't play about them.
But see, again, what you just said is a relationship not built on love, but respect.
Mm-hmm.
Respect, trust, all of those things. And I think that's where we differ in America. We believe that love is the foundation of every relationship. And if love fades for whatever reason, what else do you have that's holding that relationship together? You got to have something else. And same thing, like that's how I feel about looks and everything like that. Love and looks can't be the foundation of a relationship. They fade.
Okay. And Ernest will end this comment and this thought with this. If you're dead serious, something that we like to do as well is on our call-in show, call in, right? We're live at this time every time. So I don't know what time it is where you're at, but take the opportunity to call in. The best thing that you can do is market yourself. They call the dating marketplace for a reason. The sexual marketplace is the sexual marketplace for a reason. You have to be something that people want. Have to say that like that. You have to be something that somebody wants or desires, right? If you want to be a good husband, you have to present yourself as a husband. If you want to be somebody's wife, you got to present yourself as a wife. If you want to be romantically attached to somebody and say, I want that person, there was a reason why that person sticks out to you. And it's not about how your loins might feel. All right. So take the opportunity and call in during our call-in show when we have our next one. And that's to anybody else that's out there too. We could be like Kendra G, just different. Kendra G is a one-person show trying to get people together. Maybe, just maybe,
but we a couple.
We can hit that lane too, but as a couple, you know? So do like virtual blind dates or whatever. That'd be dope.
Oh, that would be dope.
All right. Let's close out the show.
Okay.
Answer the question, yes or no. Do you think that you have to go through a bad relationship to know what a good one is? Yes or no?
Yes.
Same. Why?
Because when you have seen hell and its fury, then when you meet someone who is able to not even take you to that depth, or they're able to show you beauty, you're able to appreciate it. I can appreciate the beauty of our relationship because I remember everything that I've gone through in the relationships before you.
Okay. My answer is yes as well. And my why is you have to, it's not really anything different. You have to get hit in the gut to know what that feels like if you're a boxer, right? Now I'm trying to do metaphors or whatever.
Metaphor. I see you. I see you.
And Tarika also says yes as well. Now the thing is did you learn from it?
Yeah.
Are you applying the things that you went through so that you either don't put yourself in that position again, or if you work through that with the current person that you with, it might be both of y'all's first time really getting through the mud and it's rough. But are y'all working through that together so that it doesn't happen again? And I think that that's what you and I did a little bit yesterday, right? We had something that was a discussion point. Mm-hmm. We talked about it with respect and open ears. And we got through it in a manner that both of us were like, we good. You know, and it wasn't even coming at it from a we're bad standpoint or things are rocky. I just saw something and wanted to address it and have a conversation about it. And that's exactly what we did.
I think we came out better than good, to be honest.
No doubt.
Stronger.
Better than perfect. All right. Tarika said that I look at you different whenever we're like live, or since you and I have been together. She's like, it's just the way that you be looking at her and you can see the love and all this. And I'm like, I don't care about love, Tarika. I love you, but I don't care about it. So we will be live from Philadelphia. Let's announce it. We can announce it.
No,
There's
but
nothing wrong with that.
are we going to be live from Philly? Like, we'll be back on Monday. So
Oh, so we'll be live from here because we were still supposed to be live, right?
yeah, we're going to be live.
Okay, so live from here.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought we was coming back Tuesday.
When's the 8th? The 8th is Monday. 8th is Monday.
You said something, and I am looking. The 8th is Monday.
Yeah, we'll be back then.
Okay.
We check out on the 8th.
Okay, cool. So we'll be back live. We just might not be here.
Yeah. We may be changing scenarios and, playing things out a little bit. But yeah.
Live from Studio B.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You're right, Tarika. He does look at me like he loves me.
Hush. Both of y'all hush. Tarika, I sent you a message. If you weren't able to do that for the last one, could you do it for this one? Let me know.
She had asked me for help and I had no clue how to do it.
Okay.
I don't know if she sent that message to you too, but she had asked me for help and I didn't know how to do it.
All right. I showed her. I think I showed her. And if not, we'll get together. So let's see what Ernest said real quick and then we'll go from there. Ernest said, thank you for the show, but I actually need women for marriage. It has really been my dream to marry a woman out of my country, not basically just on tradition. Well, I don't have an answer for you then, man.
Neither. Like,
because
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I really don't know what to say to that because it's a process. It is a process. You have to find someone that is ready to be married. You have to find that good woman that's for you. But in order to do that, y'all got to kind of put some time in together. And if that person's here, the only way you can do that is to come here or go to the apps.
And I'm going to say this very respectfully.
And I don't know how you can do that.
Marriage to an American woman will not work if all you're looking for is a wife. Like, if all you're looking for is a wife in marriage, it won't work. One thing that I have seen
That's what I was
stated
too.
in many, many different ways is, are you looking, and this was like directed towards a man. So are you looking to be a good husband or are you looking for a wife? Are you looking to be a good partner or are you just trying to get married? Because those are different things.
Mm-hmm.
I remember in my 20s, I wanted to get married. I had no idea what it meant to be a wife. I had no idea what it meant to be a partner to someone, let alone a wife. But I wanted to get married. It was the act of the wedding day that I wanted. No clue what it meant to live with a guy or anything like that, or to share my life with another person. So you really have to ask yourself, Ernest, what do you want? Do you just want a marriage? Or do you want someone who, like, you two can grow together? Because if that's what you want, it's going to take time to get it. And I can promise you on every single thing that if you meet an American woman today and you're like, oh, I want to get married, she'll do it.
She'll do it in a heartbeat.
It won't last.
Correct.
It will not last because American women don't have the same thought pattern as women from outside of this country. And I say that very respectfully, recognizing that even in my younger days, I was one of them women that I'm talking about now.
Okay.
But you have grown me and you have changed me. I am a better woman because of you, King Smith.
Can you say that again? right, y'all. That is our live stream for today. I'm King.
Hey, it's me, Michelle.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Come back next Monday where we will be live again on the King and Me Show. If you hadn't already, hit that like button and we're out.
Who's coming who? Oh, you got the crown on. I got to come in here.
Yes. Bye, y'all.
Bye.